Alright, everyone, time to take a look at the final episode today, which is The Demon Fist Falls in the Setting Sun. In Dark Cave, Jin is locked away, chained and watched by Kotaro. The minion hits a cell and unlocks it, but is strangled by him as he takes the keys. Elsewhere, the Derringers are playing baseball with Rin hitting a ball to Rio, but he's still thinking about Jin saving him from Sergeant Cannon and why he did it. Jin gets staggered away as Zaidos is given instructions to kill him for escaping the Gorma grasp. The warrior falls through the water trying to escape. In the prison, Zaidos checks the phone Kotaro stating the escape was a waste and Jin's body is already his. The Dire Rangers continue to play ball, but Rio remains distracted as the ball flies away from him. Staring out, he discovers Jin's fallen body lying down. A short time later, Jin awakens in Rio's apartment, surprising him. Rio tells him to settle as Jin asks if the Dire Rangers saved him, but he states the two of them can't cut their bonds of fate, which doesn't thrill him. He tries to settle Jin in, but he rips off the covers, saying it's ridiculous, and wonders if Rio thinks he's thrilled. He saved him as he prepares to fight in the room, but falls into pain, preventing Rio from helping him. At Dire Ranger headquarters, Shoji yells at Rio for helping his enemy, while Kazu adds he tried to kill him multiple times. Rio says it isn't just that, but Jin actually saved his life, and that's why he did it. In the apartment, Rio makes Jin porridge to help him out to regain his strength, saying it will be tasty due to him being a pro. But Jin knocks the food away. It was Rio laughs, claiming it's no big deal. Later at work, Rio asks by a coworker if he's going to be working overtime again, but he says he will since he has to take care of a friend who isn't well, leaving him with restaurant cleaning. That night, amidst a crescent moon, a woman hears strange howls. A bizarre monster known as Garuki attacks her. The next day, Rio skirts Jin around in a wheelchair, asking for someone to help him. Jin says it's hopeless and that people only think about themselves. That's how they are. Rio states he has to be kind for them and lifts the man up and carries him on his back while holding the wheelchair with the other hand up the steps. The next night, Garuki approaches the couple and attacks the man before biting the woman, making her fall down while wiping the blood from its hand. The next day, Jin awakens as Rio is talking in his sleep, serving up ramen and dumplings. The man smiles while looking at the falling petal of a flower, but then sees blood in his hand and acting like a strange bone structure on his arm, scared of what it is. Rio awakens, apologizing, and states he needs to change his bandage, but is kept away as Jin wonders what's happening to him, making Rio concerned. He takes him outside, but Jin asks Rio why he's taking him here. Rio states he helped him, but Jin states that he did it just to defeat him by his own hands. Rio asks if this is true, then he doesn't know. He probably helped him for the same reason. He states, "Your conqueror will be me," which is what he thinks as a lone fighter against him, surprising Jin. The evil fighter states that he has a request. If he's no longer a fighter but a fierce beast, he wants to kill him by his own hands, making him surprised when he tells him to perform a key strike to his heart. Rio wonders what he's stating, but Jin starts shortening a breath and falls out of his wheelchair as his hands start growing claws, with him only telling him to remember the promise even as Rio calls out to him. Garuki suddenly appears and begins attacking schoolgirls, leading to Daigo striking and saving them and the other Day Rangers appearing. Shoji tells that they'll never get past them as they transform to fight it. The creature crushes Day Rangers until Tenma Ranger tosses it over his head, and there's this big loop blade injuring it before it runs away. Rio calls out for Jin, looking for him, finds him on a bench in pain with his arm bleeding. But the Day Rangers call for him as they notice the same arm hit by Shoji's weapon, making them realize he is Garuki. Jin stares at Rio and attacks him before punching him away, prior to screaming out again in convulsions as he turns into Garuki. Rio says it's impossible, but Zaidos appears, stating he's not Jin anymore. When he was bleeding prior, the Garuki cells invaded his body, turning him into a monster. If Jin has lost his heart, then the monster is a puppet to Zaidos' commands, commanding it to strike the Day Rangers down, as Rio keeps trying to reason with it that it's a warrior. Daigo asks what Zaidos did, but the Gorma Journal mocks them as Garuki creates a crescent blade it strikes the team with. The team quickly transforms, facing the warrior as Rio tries to call for it, but Daigo tells him it's futile since he may not understand words in this form. The monster throws more crescent blades as the team at the team as Ryu remembers Jin's final words of killing him. He takes out his diamond blade and apologizes to Jin as he charges and strikes him with the heart, but is suddenly grabbed by the monster as the team realizes that the wound is too shallow. Ryu leaves the blade in his heart as Garuki drives it into his body. As Zaido calls to it, Jin reappears saying he's a warrior and Zaidos cannot hurt him, making the Gorman General realize what he's doing and making him throw a Yobeam that Ryu also becomes hit with in defense, which splits Garuki and Jin apart. Ryu runs to Jin, wondering if he's alright as Kopotoro surround them, making them decide to work back to back and combining the minions as they fight them together. As Ryu transforms the Ryu Ranger and Jin into his demon fist form, Jin gets past the minions and strikes Zaidos, angering him and says he can't forgive him. The two continue to fight, but Zaidos realizes he's at disadvantages as Jin unleashes his Glacial Fist, Soul Fist attack, pummeling the Gorman General until his last strike is caught and is hit by Yo Blast from Zaidos' mouth. The Naruto hit Garuki with her diamond rods, until summoning the super key power bazooka. Ryu tells him to aim for deep into its chest, the blast striking and destroying it completely. After the battle, Ryu discovers fallen Jin as he stands again, both saying they will finish as fighters as they stand and pose, preparing to strike one another. Jin and Ryu charge each other, fighting until Ryu wins but doesn't hit him. Jin calls him soft, and people like him tend to be. He also gives a bit of advice. A fighter must conquer his personal feelings before wandering away. Ryu wonders where he's going with his injuries, but Jin tells him not to stop him. He wants to handle something himself, and if he stays with them any longer, he will lose himself as he staggers away. Turning back one more time, stating caused Ryu nothing but trouble, but thanks him regardless. Ryu calls for his Jin keeps staggering away in pain. As the sun sets, Jin continues to wander his body, bleeding through the desert. As he turns, Zaidos and Ori Kopotoro appear before him. The general gives order to attack as the demon fist flips his coin one last time and charges to respond with the last remains of his strength, hitting them as they continue a relentless assault until Kopotoro summon rifles and shoot at him, his coin falling onto the sands for the last time. Aww. So overall, I think this episode is pretty heartbreaking, and you do feel kind of bad for Jin at the end, so yeah. So overall, I give The Demon Fist Falls in the Setting Sun 5 Megazords out of 5. Well, anyway, tune in tomorrow as we take the next episode. Farewell, Three Stooges. So, until then, in the words of Zordon, may the power protect you.